Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
A scare for the region as a 7.6 magnitude quake hits and triggers tsunami warnings. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, January 10th from the CMC News Center in Bridgetown. I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. One of the strongest quakes to hit the region in recent times struck the Caribbean between the coast of Honduras and the Cayman Islands late Tuesday night, triggering tsunami warnings for parts of the region. But in addition to there being no reports of any major damage, the tsunami threat dissipated less than an hour later. The massive tremor with a magnitude of 7.6 occurred around 9:51 p.m. at a depth of 10 kilometers. Its epicenter was located about 202 kilometers north-northeast of Honduras and 303 kilometers southeast of Georgetown, Cayman Islands. There were also several strong aftershocks reported. And after the quake, the National Tsunami Warning Center in the U.S. advised that hazardous tsunami waves were possible within 621 miles of the epicenter, which included the coastal areas of Jamaica, Mexico, Cuba, Belize, Costa Rica, Panama, Cayman Islands, Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. The alert was cancelled about an hour later. The earthquake occurred almost exactly 8 years after a 7.0 magnitude quake devastated Haiti on January 12, 2010. In Jamaica, unions negotiating on behalf of public sector workers will have to wait at least until the end of this week to hear what new offer, if any, the government will make on wage and fringe benefits. The matter was discussed at Monday's meeting of the Cabinet after several unions gave the government an ultimatum to come with a better wage offer. Police, nurses and teachers have rejected the 6% offer being made for the 2-year period, and there's been threat of industrial action in the public sector. Information Minister Senator Rule Reid told RJR News that Cabinet is expected to give further consideration to the issue when it goes into retreat, which starts on Wednesday.
It's a very complex matter. We have the issue of the wage to GDP of 9% that has to be protected. But we respect and regard the work of our hard-working public sector workers, and so we are occupying our time to see how creatively we can find a way so we can provide an offer to the public sector workers who are well-deserving that will be acceptable to them without jeopardizing our fiscal position at this particular time.
And still in Kingston, the Jamaica Manufacturing Association is describing the high crime rate on the island so far this year as sickening. The JMA president says it cannot be business as usual, and he's called on all stakeholders to play their part in reducing crime on the island. We get more in this TVJ News report.
9 days into 2018 and already over 40 murders. The situation has pushed President of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association, JMA, Mitri Siaga, to renew the call for decisive action and clear direction from both the government and the opposition.
It cannot be continue to be left as business as usual. It's just not sustainable. We are going to lose all of the gains that we have made over the last 3 or 4 years.
In a press release, the JMA stated that the crime situation has left Jamaicans feeling powerless and insecure. And the sad reality of Jamaica today is that lawlessness is undermining our quality of life and vision for the country.
When we look at what happened at the Palisades airport on New Year's Day with this party, people were just disregarding other people's rights. When we see how people drive on the roads, There's no law and order. There's no feeling that you are going to be punished for doing anything that's against the law. People stop wherever they want to stop, load wherever they want to load. You see on social media, people roughing up police.
Mr. Siaga relates that the manufacturing sector and productivity on a whole continues to be impacted negatively as employees are not productive when crime continues to threaten their families, communities, or them themselves through injuries or fear. The JMA says it is therefore calling for the government and opposition to align on an effective crime strategy and clear targets to which public officials can be held accountable. Mr. Siaga is also calling for other entities to get involved as the JMA has agreed to partner with the private sector organization of Jamaica, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Jamaica Exporters Association to discuss strategies for long-term fixes.
But the time has come for all hands to pull together now, and the government, the opposition, the private sector, the unions, the churches have got to come together and solve this problem. And there can be no more talking about it. We have to find a real sustainable solution.
Bermuda is to begin an immediate search for a new police commissioner after Michael De Silva announced on Tuesday that he will step down from the post in June. He says that with over 32 years on the job, it's time for him to move on to the next stage of his life. In a release, De Silva said it was not an easy decision to retire because he's passionate about policing and has dedicated his entire adult life to public service. The top cop said, quote, "I am proud of the significant impact we have made in helping to reduce violence, but there's more to be done. After 8 years as commissioner, it's the right time to let someone else leave the BPS from its senior post and continue the mission of making Bermuda safer." End quote. His retirement takes effect on June 15th. De Silva said he selected that date in order to complete his term as president of the Association of Caribbean Commissioners of Police in May. Canada has issued a travel advisory on Barbados due to a sewage mess on the south coast of the island. A portion of the south coast is experiencing an overflow of raw sewage due to a mechanical breakdown, and the Public Health Agency of Canada issued the safety and security warning on Tuesday morning, advising Canadians to avoid the affected area. Meantime, the Ministry of Health says it's investigating 35 suspected cases of gastroenteritis on that south coast. Acting Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kenneth George, says the majority of cases occurred over Christmas and Old Year's, with the last case reported on January 3rd. But he's seeking to assure residents that there is no connection between the recent outbreak and the ongoing sewage problem. George says his ministry has done the necessary tests of food businesses in the affected area and found no evidence so far that the two are linked. But he's urging Barbadians to take the necessary precautionary measures, such as washing hands frequently, to help prevent spread of gastro.
Asking Barbadians who drive cars that they need to slow down in that area, and they need to be just conscious of people walking on the road. I think that just makes sense. The other thing we are asking businesses is to make sure that their food hygiene practices meet minimal standards. Simple things like washing hands, cleaning down surfaces, making sure that all illness is reported either to the Ministry of Health or to the food establishment so they can give that information to us. So we are asking persons to cooperate with us during this period until we have a medium and long-term solution to the problem on the South Coast.
An 8-month investigation has failed to identify the cause of the mysterious illness that afflicted Canadian and U.S. diplomats in Cuba last year. A senior Canadian government official told the French press agency on Wednesday that the investigation led by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in collaboration with the U.S. and Cuban authorities was unable to confirm U.S. suspicions of a sonic attack or even that a single cause was to blame for the symptoms. He said 27 Canadian diplomats and family members were tested after complaining between April and December of dizziness, headaches, nausea, nosebleeds, or sleeplessness. 8 people from a group of military doctors flew back to Canada for medical care, but none of them was hospitalized and none is believed to have suffered any permanent damage. 3 diplomatic families have chosen not to return to Cuba out of concern for their well-being. The official said people are getting sick and nobody has any idea why, but it doesn't warrant the closure of Canada's mission in Havana. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister says CARICOM countries should join the global push to decriminalize marijuana. We'll be right back.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy. Unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
Welcome back. As several countries across the globe push to decriminalize marijuana, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says CARICOM countries should consider doing the same, and he says they should borrow from the laws of the developed countries. Brown says it doesn't have to be a wholesale adaptation, but the region could take some aspects of laws and regulations and customize them to suit the Caribbean environment to deal with what has been a very difficult issue. He says the country and the rest of the region need to move away from the current views on marijuana use and the criminalization of users, because criminalization simply has not worked. Brown noted that under existing laws, the use of marijuana is driven underground, making it difficult to control. He added that if the proposed amendments to the Misuse of Drugs Act in the Twin Island Nation are passed to decriminalize the possession of 10 or less grams of cannabis and license specific groups to sell or grow the herb, the next step would be towards legalization of marijuana for medical use. But he says he's not suggesting exporting the drug. Meanwhile, the decriminalization of the herb is unlikely to happen anytime soon in Guyana. The country's Attorney General, Basil Williams, says he believes the herb is more bad than good for citizens. We get more in this report from Royden James of HGP Nightly News.
Many countries have been making moves to decriminalize marijuana. That might not be the case for Guyana, at least not anytime soon. Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams feels the chatter about legalizing marijuana should be dropped. The AG based his position on a recent international study conducted by the United Nations.
Because whereas we had this belief, as people used to tell you, a little smoking is good for the eyes, it's help you with certain diseases, etc. The picture that has been revealed from that study, I can assure you, I think we should try to get that out in the narrative.
The Attorney General noted that other countries have been moving to erase the question of decriminalizing marijuana from the rhetoric of their citizens.
In fact, I've seen in the United States last week news a push now to retrieve the position and recall this whole question of legalizing marijuana. So we have a report, I think it came from the UN, some UN body, about the negatives of marijuana. I don't know if you've ever seen it. But I don't think it emphasizes that we need public education.
Many groups, including the Rastafarian community, have been calling on the government to review the law which criminalizes marijuana use. In fact, one political party which contested the 2015 general elections promised to strike out the law should they be elected. That party never saw the light of day at the elections. The question of decriminalizing ganja comes on the backdrop of numerous reports that scores of persons are hauled before the court, charged and jailed for 3 years for having a small quantity of marijuana in their possession, or, in most cases, just a spiff of the herb. Countries such as Spain, Italy, the Czech Republic, and the Netherlands support the use of marijuana in small quantities. Australia.
And over in the Bahamas, the decriminalization debate continues. The public got a chance to weigh in on the pros and cons of legalizing the herb, and this ZNS Network News report takes a look at the youth factor.
Would tell you it's a drug that's never been directly linked to a death, but outside of its illegal designation, the true impact remains a question. But what is clear to addiction specialist Troy Clark is that those who end up in prison are familiar with marijuana.
We have seen 100+ clients directly from the Magistrate Court number 8.
That's the drug court where Clark has spent years helping with rehabilitation with good success.
We had more than 85 to about 87% of those individuals succeeded in the program. And when we did our research and we collected our data and we ran them through the system, through the police research system, we found out that none of the individuals who would have graduated in 2015 and 2016 from our MRT program have re-entered the criminal justice system for marijuana usage or any other criminal activities.
Meantime, additional statistics from the Lead Institute show that 99.1% of male inmates reported that they'd used marijuana and 90.1% of females. The median age among males for their first use was 15 years old and 14 and a half years old for females.
I've been smoking all my life, man.
Since what age?
13. Like be 40. They never do me nothing.
College student Tyree King believes legalizing the drug will only pique the curiosity of those who wouldn't have ordinarily used it.
People could say, okay, I just doing it just to do it because it's legal. Some people just could do it. It's legal, I could do it anyway. Without no reason to do it.
And that's one more reason Clark says the Bahamas isn't ready. He refers to his participation in the United Nations talks recently and this consensus.
Consensus in the conference was that we need to move away from criminalizing substance use disorder with individuals who enter the criminal justice system because of substance use and deal with it not from a policing aspect, but deal with it from what we call a harm reduction, deal with it from a medical or a mental and a medical aspect.
And the head in Newsline Sport, a fast bowling legend, gives what he says are his reasons for West Indies' dismal performance. We'll tell you who he is and what he says after the break. Stay with us.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh, look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Continuing with sports now, fast bowling legend Sir Curtly Ambrose blames poor cricket pitches and the lack of pride in the game for the recent dismal performance of the West Indies team. He was commenting on the recent whitewash the regional men suffered at the hands of New Zealand in both ODIs and T20 international matches. Ryan Bachu of Garden Media Sports spoke with Ambrose, who admitted that he's not been paying much attention to the team.
While it may be all fun and games, this match produced the ideal opportunity to get the greats talking about West Indies cricket again. Fresh from a series pounding in New Zealand, Sir Curtly Ambrose could hardly watch.
Well, to be quite honest, I didn't watch much of it. It's too painful to watch. I do follow a little bit just to see what's happening, because we are still West Indians.
Sir Curtly has pointed to two flaws in the domestic game: a lack of pride and quote-unquote terrible pitches.
But at the end of the day, it's about the passion and the pride and what cricket means to West Indians. And that's what I brought to the table. I guess nobody wanted that, so hence I was removed.
With Guyana wrapping up its title defense this weekend, Ambrose has once again zoned in on the quality of pitches in the Caribbean.
And I mean, unless we get back to the days when we were the best team in the world, we have good cricket pitches, where there's a bit in it for the fast bowlers, a bit for the spinners, and if you're good enough batsman, you can score runs. The pitches in the Caribbean are terrible, and that's why we go overseas and we get pitches that are bouncing a bit. The players are all at sea. We need to get back quick, bouncy pitches in the Caribbean. It'll make you better as players and better for the fast bowlers.
And then there is this man, who hasn't been in the picture for quite a while. Sunil Narayan pulled out of both the West Indies squad and the ongoing Big Bash.
Is it a fitness problem? Not really a fitness problem, but a little time away from the game will do a good job, and when I'm back, hopefully I'm back for good and ready to go.
Rain dealt a blow to West Indies under-19's preparations for the opening match of the ICC Youth World Cup when it washed out their final official warm-up against Zimbabwe. Persistent rain in the Christchurch region put paid to all 4 warm-up matches, leaving several sides without valuable final match practice for the January 13th to February 3rd campaign. West Indies under-19s, the reigning champions, won their opening warm-up match on Monday when they beat Papua New Guinea by 7 wickets at Lincoln Green. They're set to do battle in Group A along with South Africa, Kenya and host New Zealand and open the tournament with a clash against the Kiwis on Saturday. Afghanistan, Pakistan and New Zealand all scored wins in their opening warm-up matches on Monday. The final set of preparation games are scheduled for Thursday with former champions Australia taking on South Africa, Canada clashing with Ireland, India up against Kenya and England facing Sri Lanka. Still in cricket, Trinidad and Tobago's hosting of preliminary round and playoff matches in the Caribbean Premier League has resulted in an economic impact of $23.6 million. That's according to the tournament organizers. A study carried out by researchers SMG Insight using organizer spend, visitor spend and media value showed TNT benefiting to the tune of $23,625,618 for the August 4th to September 9th, 2020 tournament. Queen's Park Oval in Port of Spain staged 5 matches in the preliminaries early on in the tournament, while the newly constructed Brian Lara Stadium was the venue for the 4 playoff matches, including the final. According to SMG Insight's report, the tournament had a direct impact on hotel room stock, filling 9,323 rooms. Organizers spent $4.4 million in TNT during the tournament, a 71% increase in spending over the previous year. Earlier this week, CPL organizers announced that Guyana had experienced a total economic impact of $14.1 million US dollars, with 482 jobs created and 4,097 hotel rooms filled during the tournament. Total brand exposure for the country was calculated at $3.2 million US dollars. And that's sports.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
Again, the major developments of this day: a scare for the region as a 7.6 magnitude quake hits between the coast of Honduras and the Cayman Islands and triggers tsunami warnings. And in sport, fast bowling legend Sir Curtly Ambrose blames poor cricket pitches and the lack of pride in the game for the recent dismal performance of the West Indies team. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to CanadaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.